Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. Right now where I am, it is Friday, June 16th, 2023, here in Tokyo, Japan. It is the morning, and I understand that a few hours ago, what I understand to be corresponding to the 15th of June, 2023 in North America, I understand that the Criterion Collection made its announcement on its website with respect to its planned releases for September 2023. And if you want more information about those releases, my dear friends, my strong recommendation, I strongly encourage you to check out the Criterion Collection website directly for more information about the films themselves, write-ups about the films, planned cover art designs, planned technical specifications, special features that are also in the works, etc., as well as any updates that might occur between now and the actual release dates in September. So my strong recommendation is, of course, to check out the Criterion Collection website directly for such very helpful information about those planned releases, as well as other titles in the Criterion Collection catalog. But in the meantime, if it's okay with you, I'd like to share with you just some thoughts and comments that I have with regard to this very interesting selection of planned titles for September 2023 from the Criterion Collection. First up, scheduled for release, or shall I say re-release, on September 5th, 2023. And this is a title which is designated at spine number 948. And I say release or re-release because it in fact is a title that currently exists in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog at such spine number. And this is a film which is described as being from the year 1987. And the filmmaker is Rob Reiner. And the work is called The Princess Bride. And here is the iPad showing of this. The Princess Bride. Now, this time, on this occasion of September 2023, the Criterion Collection website indicates 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo edition, 2 discs. So I'm assuming that's going to be the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc correspondingly. Now, this, as some of you may know, already exists in the Criterion Collection catalog here on this Blu-ray, which is what I have, and very interesting packaging and the like, with the disc that's sitting in the back end of this very interesting book-like hardcover, hardbound book-like packaging, which is very fascinating in and of itself. And as some of you may also know, that this Blu-ray release, when it occurred some years back, specifically in the year 2018, this was purported to be based on, at the time described as new 4K digital restoration with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio. Now, it appears that the Criterion Collection's planned release for a re-release this year for the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo appears to be, according to the site, 4K digital restoration with 5.1 DTS HD master audio soundtrack, and then one 4K UHD disc of the film presented in Dolby Vision HDR, and one Blu-ray with the film and special features. So it appears as though this will be relying on the same presentation materials as that which we had seen in the earlier Blu-ray. But again, this we will have to see, and we'll have to see if there's any maybe significant detail or differences that can be discerned or that can be detected, or that can otherwise be identified in terms of one's viewing experience and one's enrichment of the viewing experience with respect to this very great and classic work, which is The Princess Bride. So I have not spoken about this film, The Princess Bride, on this channel directly, and to my great, this channel's weakness, and to my great chagrin. So this news will hopefully help to remedy or rectify that oversight on my part. This is such a great film. One of the films that I kind of grew up on as part of my overall, film viewing experience as a kid from the 80s. And so it has that lovely magical sheen to it in my eyes, as well as being a type of, say, it's a film that has a huge following for a lot of reasons. And it has this magical enchantment that's also very witty, very clever, and it has that type of humor and aspect that really ages so well, like a fine wine, that I have such a great fondness for this film because I remember having a certain set of feelings about it when I watched it as a kid, and then growing up over the years, my attitudes and perspectives, while I would always maintain that sense of wonder and that sense of wowness that I had as a kid, I would also hold certain perspectives that would accompany me as I watched the film as I grew older. And so it has that wonderful edge to it, which I think is one of the strong reasons why it's such an everlasting film like it is. So I'm very excited for this re-release. Now, again, it's already available in the Criterion Collection on this really wonderful Blu-ray. So it's a really great release. So we'll have to wait and see what the Criterion Collection has in store for us when we are talking about the re-release. For instance, what is going to happen with the packaging? Are we going to talk about the same packaging? Or are we talking about something a little bit different? Because we're talking about 2 discs here. So are there also going to be some discernible differences in terms of, say, the presentation values and the like, and from the 4K UHD, to the Blu-ray, etc. Again, there may be some discernible differences. There may not be. Again, depending on one's own take on the viewing experience, etc. So these and other questions, if it's okay with you, I'd like to explore and go forward with you in terms of a rewatch or a viewing or an experience, an exploration with regard to this title, as it's going to be re-released into the Criterion Collection again later in the year in September 2023. And it is the work which is The Princess Bride. Before I move on, I forgot to mention, I think, that The Princess Bride, the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo edition, appears to be scheduled for release September 5th, 2023. So that's for The Princess Bride. And then moving on, let me say that the next title, next up, scheduled for release September 12th, 2023, is a title which is designated at spine number 10. So this is a title that already currently exists in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. But this time, this year, it looks like Criterion is going to be re-releasing this, employing the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo physical media format. And I'm speaking of a work which is described as being from the year 1971. And the name of the filmmaker is Nicholas Roeg. And the name of the work is Walkabout. So Walkabout is coming back to the Criterion Collection, although I think it was, it currently exists in the Criterion Collection under this Blu-ray. And this Blu-ray, of course, is, this is from 2010. And this was, at the time, based upon described as new restored high-definition digital transfer. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, this year, 2023, September 2023, according to the website, this new release is purported to be based on what's described as a new 4K digital master with uncompressed monaural soundtrack, and then the 4K UHD disc of the film presented in Dolby Vision HDR, and one Blu-ray with the film and special features. So it looks like we are getting a new 4K digital master presentation. And so this would appear to be something that would be different from the materials that were based upon the presentation for the Blu-ray release from Criterion 10 years or so back. So very interesting news indeed. Very exciting news in terms of the film Walkabout. So I look forward to rewatching this film again. I've spoken a little bit about this film Walkabout on this channel, but it'll be wonderful to maybe revisit and revise some of my comments about this very fascinating, peculiar, and enigmatic work That's very lyrical, but that's also very much. It has that wonderful sense of, and I mean this very, very complimentarily. It has that wonderful sense of extremity, that extremity of tension between what can be described as being very much capturing a sense of elements, or the fundamental elements, which could be thus akin to a sense of a type of quote unquote realism, but it's not presented in a way that it's like a documentary. On the contrary, it's very lyrical, and that lyricism shows through in the way that certain images and sounds are gathered together in a type of collage, the editing. Thus to create a sense of almost disquiet, or a sense of almost a transcendental connection on the one hand, as well as a type of unease on the other, which I think is at the very heart and center of the cinematic philosophy, if you will, of the works of Nicholas Roeg. And so the work Walkabout, with its context and with its drive in terms of a sense of survivalism on the one hand, and a connectivity on the other, I think has a real fascinating sense of wonderful poetic contradictions, which I think form part of the basis for its fascination, even years after it was initially released. So wonderful to see this re-released. So it'll be very interesting also to see what the master, this 4K digital master, has in store for us. I'm not sure. I haven't watched the 4K master of this, so I don't know what it will look like compared to what we are used to in terms of the earlier Blu-ray. But very, very exciting indeed. So we will have to see also. It looks like with other 4K releases from Criterion, sometimes Criterion, or most of the time I should say, Criterion tends to be very much keeping in line with previous releases, so nothing is added for the most part. No cover art changes are made for the most part, from the earlier Blu-ray release to the new 4K UHD combo release. So we shall have to see if that holds true. It looks like, according to the website, looks like the same cover art design will be used. Maybe some packaging details will be different to accommodate the 2 discs instead of the 1, but we shall have to see those and other details in terms of a compare and contrast with the current Blu-ray versus, say, the new upcoming 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo. So, and that, I think, in the context of Walkabout, I think the primary concern or issue will be the sense of the 4K master, and how one feels and reacts to the 4K master and watching that. So that'll, I would anticipate, being the main thrust of the consideration going forward with respect to the Criterion release of this. But in any event, very, very exciting news to bring this back to the spotlight, in a manner of speaking, for reassessment and re-evaluation and reconsideration, and a type of celebration of its legacy. This is the work, again, scheduled for release September 12th, 2023, but this time in a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo format edition. This is the work which is Walkabout. Next, scheduled for release on September 19th, 2023, and this is going to be designated at spine number 1191, and this time we have a Blu-ray single disc option, or a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray 2-disc option. So one of those 2 physical media options with regard to this work, again, described as being from the year 1962, and the filmmaker is Orson Welles. And the name of the work is The Trial. So The Trial is coming to the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. So this is incredible news, and this is also going to be described as being based upon, purported to be based upon, the new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack, 1 4K UHD disc of the film, and 1 Blu-ray of the film with special features. And those special features include, among other special features, a new audio commentary track with Joseph McBride. So, and other supplements which you can check out in terms of the description on the Criterion Collection website. But this is incredible news. This is really, really incredible news. Now, the film itself is one of those remarkable works in the catalog of Orson Welles, which I think has, up until perhaps somewhat recently, has been, relatively speaking, a little bit difficult to access. Not impossible, but a little bit difficult to access and watch, at least compared with the other works of the filmography of Orson Welles. And so it's in that way, it's been great to see a lot of the attention that has been recast towards its direction of recent months. And I would draw one's attention to recent non-Criterion releases of this from several months back. So very, very exciting to see re-releases of this film in other areas. And now Criterion is coming into the fold with its own North American release, so a 4K UHD release to boot. So very exciting to see this. Now, I mentioned other releases too. So I have not yet gotten, say, the Studio Canal release of this, and I understand that based on the description, my understanding is that there are some looks like there are some supplements differences between that non-Criterion release and this upcoming Criterion release. So we shall have to see about that. But it looks as though for, say, Orson Welles completionists and for people who are, say, the trial completionists, one might be considering getting both versions of this. But in the meantime, we have, at least as far as this Criterion release is concerned, among its other special features, we have what's purported to be a new audio commentary track with the great Joseph McBride, which I understand will be one of the reasons for people to want to get this Criterion release. So it's great to see that, and it's described as being new, so that's really wonderful. You know, I've seen this film a number of times. I have a Japanese physical media release of this, and so that's been my go-to release in terms of rewatch of this fascinating, very, very cryptic and quite eerie work with a great performance, a central performance by Anthony Perkins. So, but it's like a labyrinth of confusion and unease, and in that great Orson Welles style, and it's applied so effectively, so effectively. It's almost like the perfect combination of style, substance, and cinematic philosophy, a la Orson Welles on the one hand, and the subject matter, the Kafka subject matter on the other, and it's almost in many ways a type of great blending and a meeting of the minds, in a manner of speaking, to result in what is the trial, the film version, the trial. So this is going to be this is really great. Again, perhaps for some people might be content with other non-Criterion releases, and if that's the case for you, that's great. That's perfectly fine, and that's wonderful. And then for others, maybe the Criterion release will be the way to go. Again, I have not yet gotten the new release of this, so the Criterion release is very timely for me. So I'll be very happily be relying on that going forward. Although I might consider whether or not to get both again, and the consideration that there seem to be some maybe some offerings on in terms of supplements that are different. So for completionists who are interested in that type of gathering of information and supplements, that might be something to consider. But in any event, we'll see what the Criterion release has in store, including what purports to be the new Joseph McBride audio commentary track, which is very exciting, especially in the world of, say, Orson Welles, film historian, commentary track history, etc. So, wow. And indeed, too, there is a sense of Criterion's, say, ongoing relationship with the works of Orson Welles. You know, there are a number of works that already exist, directed by Orson Welles in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. Not all, but a number of works indeed. So the trial is now added to that great list, that great pantheon of Criterion Orson Welles releases. So let's hope that this is maybe a sign of things to come. Who knows? But whether it is or it is not, whatever the case may be, this is still fantastic, fantastic, fantastic news. We shall have to wait and see to what the packaging will be, but I can say that the cover art design looks phenomenal. That looks really, really great. Nessim Hickson is the cover art designer that's credited. But look at that. That's really, really cool. So, very cool indeed. So, in any event, this is, again, scheduled for release September 19th, 2023, The Trial. Next, scheduled for release on September 26th, 2023, and this is for a Blu-ray release, single disc Blu-ray release, and this is designated or going to be designated at spy number 1193. And this is a work which is described as being from the year 1987, and the name of the filmmaker is Luis Valdez, and the name of the work is La Bamba. So, La Bamba is coming to the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. So, Lou Diamond Phillips. And this is so great. This is so great. Now, I know that this film, La Bamba, has been released a number of times in previous physical media forms in other labels. I understand that very much. Unfortunately, I was never able to get any of those releases, so this will be a great opportunity for me to get this at long last in my own collection, so I'm very excited for that. And also, the film itself, again, I was talking a little bit earlier about, say, The Princess Bride. La Bamba was also a huge, huge film for me growing up. It hit that sweet spot. Again, it's described as being from 1987. And in many ways, 1987 was a big, big year for me. I was born in '79, so I was still a kid. I was around 8 years old in 1987, and I was just beginning, I think, to form a sense of, say, film consciousness, for lack of a better phrase. I would see film programs on TV. There would be review shows, and a number of shows too that were also directed at kids as well, children audience. And during that sense of awakening into film consciousness, the work La Bamba emerged. And so that work was broadcast a lot, and so it was a big deal. And then to see it and to feel the excitement again as a kid, not knowing anything about the background and the history of the subject matter, but just getting into the flow and the rhythms of the story as best as I could, again, to the extent I was able to understand and not understand, again, from my 8-year-old subjective perspective. With all those circumstances, this was a big deal watching this as a kid. Huge, huge deal. And over the years, as I grew up, it would still be there, lingering. And so now it's one of those feelings that I have never been able to shake. Unfortunately, I have not spoken about the work La Bamba on this channel. And also, I wasn't able to get any of those physical media releases from elsewhere. So this will hopefully remedy those 2 points in one go. Again, in September with the Criterion release, the Blu-ray release, and again, being able to hopefully speak about this work with a little bit more detail and just some of the feelings going into this. Again, I cannot emphasize enough just how huge this was for me as a kid growing up in the 80s. So I'm very excited for this, and it looks like, according to the Criterion Collection site here, it's purported based on what's described as a new 4K digital restoration approved by director Valdez with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. So, and then plus a number of supplements, including what it purports to be a new interview with Valdez. So we'll have to explore this and see how we feel about this and the presentation details. But that'll be part of the conversation, of course. Of course it will be, as with all the other releases. And among that among that conversation point, or together with such conversation point, again, to be able to share with you some thoughts that I have about the work itself, the film itself, and to hear from you as well, for anyone else who's a fan of La Bamba, just to have that conversation. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. This is such, again, I'm getting chills again, just thinking about a time when I saw it as a kid. Oh my goodness, this is very exciting indeed. So, Spy number 1193, and this is the work which is La Bamba. Last but certainly not least, we have a title which is scheduled for release September 26th, 2023, and this is going to be designated at Spy number 1192. And this is a work which, again, looks like it's going to be yes, the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo 2-disc option, or a single-disc Blu-ray option. And this is a work which is described as being from the year 2022, and the filmmaker is Brett Morgan, and the name of the work is MOONAGE Daydream. So MOONAGE Daydream is coming to the Criterion Collection from 2022. So I heard so much about this when it was released, but never had a chance, unfortunately, to be able to catch up with this. So at last, Criterion will provide me with this opportunity. So David Bowie centered work. So very much looking forward to this. Again, there were some, well, actually, yeah, I was going to say that I did hear a few, I had some comments and recommendations that I received from viewers and friends of this channel about this. So there's some specifics also that maybe I was going to say now, but I'll save those comments for when we talk about the work, when we have the opportunity to talk about the work. I was going to say when it arrives, but I'll probably be in Los Angeles by then. So after we make the purchase in September, we'll have a conversation about it. So looking forward to this immensely. MOONAGE Daydream. Now, it's described as being 4K digital master, supervised by the writer, director, editor, producer Brett Morgan, with Dolby Atmos and stereo soundtracks, and then one 4K UHD disc of the film and one Blu-ray with the film and special features, with a number of special features, including an audio commentary and the like. So, and then you can check out the special features list on the Criterion Collection website for more information. So, I'm very, very excited about this. Again, I don't have too much to say now because I haven't seen the work, although I have a general idea of what the work is or could be, based on what I've heard from it from friends and viewers of this channel. So anyway, this is again scheduled for release using either the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo format or the single disc Blu-ray format, and that's the work which is MOONAGE Daydream. Okay, so that concludes my general thoughts and comments about the planned releases for September 2023 from the Criterion Collection. So we have the site here once again, and the title starting from The Princess Bride here, and going along the top row here with Walkabout, The Trial, La Bamba, and MOONAGE Daydream. And so what do you think, my dear friends? I can say, just stepping back, generally speaking, I'm very excited about this. Again, we see the Criterion Collection really embracing the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo format, the physical media format. We have, by my count, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 employing such format, and then we have the single disc Blu-ray option for La Bamba. So that's very exciting news indeed. Maybe in that conversation we should point out that DVD is conspicuously absent. Now, I'm not sure if that is any kind of indication for the future of DVD and the Criterion Collection. Again, your guess is as good as mine in terms of reading the tea leaves. And not just that, your guesses are often better than mine, or always better than mine. So let me correct that. So If you have any thoughts and comments about that, let me know. But I think that is that's something that I definitely noticed in terms of lack of DVD options available, especially for the new 3 titles here: The Trial, La Bamba, and MOONAGE Daydream. That's something to keep in mind as well. Again, DVD is still it's incredibly important format option. So again, we'll have to keep let's keep on considering this when we consider the future Criterion offerings and announcements, etc. But going back to what we are going to be getting, at least according to the site as of today, we have certain re-releases, so The Princess Bride and Walkabout. So as with previous re-releases from Criterion, we're going to have to see what the discernible quote-unquote differences are. Again, I would say the Criterion's releases of Walkabout and The Princess Bride on the current Blu-rays, I think, are very reliable, very robust. So what is the incentive for a consumer or customer to want to get these in the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray option? Are there any other incentives going for those offerings, especially considering the slightly higher price point? Again, I think it will come down to one's feelings and views on the films themselves initially, as well as one's feelings and takes on the experience of watching the film, say, with the option of the 4K UHD disc and the availability and the accessibility of that now, and how one feels about the viewing experience watching it in that presentation versus the current Blu-ray option, etc., and how what that does to one's appreciation and understanding and enjoyment and enrichment of the film, if any. So and the like, or it may be from a collector standpoint in terms of really wanting to have the versions of the releases, etc. So or it might be people coming to the film for the first time. And if you are coming to the film for the first time, Walkabout or The Princess Bride, you've been considering getting them, but you haven't gotten them yet, maybe now is your opportunity to do so with September. So in any event, that's something to keep in mind. And then with regard to the 3 new titles, The Trial, La Bamba, and MOONAGE Daydream. So I mentioned MOONAGE Daydreaming is a work that I have not yet seen yet. So this will be a Criterion's way of providing a first-time watch for me of this. So very, very excited about this one. And then my excitement is also very much echoed with regard to the other 2 releases earlier in the month, those being the Wells work Trial, or The Trial, and Valdez work, which is La Bamba. So I've spoken a little bit now about my reasons for being excited for those 2 film releases respectively. So each in their own ways, very excited, very, very excited. So this will be a wonderful, grand, and exciting month of September from my point of view to access and to explore and re-explore a number of these film adventures and film journeys, as well as some new explorations along the way at the tail end of September for me. So that is my general take on this. So I would note that there aren't any box set releases here, at least as far as I can tell. So we'll have to wait and see if there is some news down the line in terms of box set releases or collector set releases or the like from Criterion. If there is, great. If there isn't, that's fine too, because I think this year we're going to see, or we have seen, or we're going to see some interesting box set releases in the coming months. So, well, yeah, it's always interesting to see what Criterion has in store. So if there is a box set release down the line, I'm looking forward to it. At the moment, there doesn't appear to be anything in the September lineup, but we'll keep an eye out for that if and when that occurs. But that aside, the films themselves are remarkable in their own way. It's a great eclectic mix, and so I can't wait for September to arrive. So, my dear friends, what do you think? Please let me know in the comment section below. As always, your comments and responses and reactions are so very important to me. So please let me know what you think about this anytime. You are welcome. You are welcome here anytime, my dear friends. So with that, let me leave you, and until the next video, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great, great movies, including the titles in the Criterion collection. So until the next video, my dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.